Morning. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. And this is the Daily Mix TV. I was talking with a few pals of mine who are marketers late last week about what's going on in entertainment and in broadcast these days. We talked about how different things are in Hollywood amongst all of the networks. Their inability to drive excitement the way that they used to, given that there are just so many choices now in terms of in-home entertainment. So what do I mean by that? When I was a kid growing up, you had the big three. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC. Then in the 80s, you had Fox show up, so it became the big four. Then you had, the independent roll-ups like what was the WB, Warner Brothers Network, which then became the CW. Those kinds of things. Nowadays, you've got OTT, so you've got Hulu, you've got Netflix, then you've got your broadcast networks, and then you have other streaming opportunities like YouTube and so on. Now, one of the very issues that we discussed was the Olympics. It's a great example of what's going on. Not only did the U.S. Olympic team fail to meet expectations of volume of medals won, according to the U.S. Olympic Committee's projections, the ratings on NBC were just as disappointing, hitting an all-time low average of 19.8 million viewers across all platforms. Yes, that's right, you heard me. Unlike in years prior, live streams were counted this year on NBC.com and NBC Sports Network, which means that traditional viewership was even lower. Now, considering how much money NBC spends promoting the Olympics, this is an extremely low ROI, or return on investment. I know I sound like an old fart or a curmudgeon, but when I was a kid, the Olympics actually meant something beyond some ridiculous opening ceremony. So when you think back to the Olympics of the 70s and 80s, you had superstars that everyone knew. It didn't matter what your age was, what your gender, what your walk of life was, you just knew who they were. Olympians like Bruce Jenner, Mary Lou Retton, Greg Louganis, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Matt Biondi, and more, they drove the national conversation of pride and patriotism in our country. Now, these athletes, they excited a nation. They kept people glued to their TV screens with their families. It was always a family affair. I remember talking to my friends in grade school after the 80 and 84 Olympics, and, they all talked about how they were sitting down with their family watching the Olympics. I did the same thing with my parents. Now, today, unfortunately, everyone has a tiny little screen in their pocket thanks to, smartphones. And watching TV together has really become a novelty rather than the family affair I just spoke about. But at the end of the day, NBC, in my opinion, just did not do a good job of promoting the Olympics the way that they used to. Marred by controversy and negative news from, with everything from Matt Lauer's firing for sexual misconduct to the controversy around Megyn Kelly's salary versus the women on the Today Show, and the fact that she was even hired from Fox to begin with, which ruffled more than a few feathers inside NBC. And then there's the personal pissing contest by NBC News chief Andy Lack. Needless to say, NBC has had its plate full over the last several months. Now, I would have thought that the Peacock network would have done more and succeeded given the inclusion of streams and other platforms in their ratings numbers. But sadly, that was just not the case. Now, look, in the interest of full disclosure, I grew up in an NBC household. Loved watching the Today Show when I was even a little boy. Was always a news junkie, guys. Sorry. On top of it, I loved must-see TV. I loved watching sitcoms and dramas on NBC more than the other networks. So for me to see what's happened to the National Broadcasting Corporation, it really saddens me. Now, I'm hoping, I'm praying that our U.S. Olympic team and NBC will fare far better during the 2020 Summer Games in Tokyo. Now, everyone has been to a QSR. I don't care who you are. Quick serve restaurants, everyone's been to one in their life. And everyone has spilled food over themselves because they have too much in their hands. Those moments like when you're at a ballpark and in between innings, you run to the concession stand to go get a soda and a hot dog or something like that. You're not paying attention when you're trying to run back to your seat. You trip and bam, food all over the floor and all over you, right? It's a pain in the ass. Now, play that out in your head in your car. Those moments when you go through the drive-thru and they hand you the tray of food and all over you, or you stop short at a stoplight while you're drinking a soda and you jerk the soda back all over you. Now, think about that also when you're walking down the street after you've just run to a hot dog shop or a McDonald's or something like that. Well, thanks to innovative entrepreneurs like Bonnie Strominger, the problem can be a thing of the past. Now, you guys have heard me talk about my pal Wayne Rosenbaum before. He owns Papaya King. He actually introduced me to Bonnie and her GoLidz product. And since then, we've become friendly, professional friends. I got to tell you, a few months ago, I was at a launch for GoLidz at Papaya King's legendary location on 86th Street and 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. I have to tell you guys, regardless of my personal opinions on Bonnie, in terms of her being my friend, blow away product. So while I'm there at this launch, Bonnie asked me to do a very quick down and dirty review on video for her. So I did it, and I thought you guys might enjoy it. She just sent it to me last night. Check it out.
Because it makes it so much easier when you're standing out in an arena or you're here and you're walking on the street. It makes it easier in terms of keeping it more food safe. You want to talk to somebody, oh hey, you want to try, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Where do you guys want to see this?
Everywhere. Everywhere. Come
That's
on.
it? Just everywhere?
We'll take over the whole planet in terms of QSR, convenience, and arena and stadium. Okay? Is that better?
That's it? That's the only place?
Well, I don't know that this would work in terms of Danielle, but it sure as hell works in terms of going out in easy, convenient format.
You guys forgot.
Why not?
You guys forgot the car. Drive through.
Okay. Yeah, but a drive, yeah, absolutely for drive-through, but we're New Yorkers. We don't think of drive-through.
Well, let's span the globe a little. Let's span around the country.
How about this? It's great for the park, convenient to walk with, and share at the same time. There you go.
Sharing, that's one we haven't heard today. I love that. I love the sharing aspects.
Especially if you've got French fries or tater tots, even a knish, or two people eating a dog, right?
Excellent. Enjoy it.
How easy this is.
Can't beat it.
All in one convenient format. Can't argue with that. I still have a hand-free.
Now, GoLidz, in my opinion, is perfect for stadium, arena, movie theaters, park stands, fast casual, fast food, and yes, drive-through. Not only does it add a level of convenience for the customer in terms of being able to hold your drink and your food in one hand while still being clean and easy to enjoy, it's more profitable for a QSR than traditional packaging because, thankfully, it lowers costs. Think about this. In terms of the package that you just saw in the video, you have the cup, and then on top of it is that piece of plastic, right? It creates a seal between the cup and the unit itself, and then you stick the straw through the back end as you saw in the video. Here's the thing. If you're an operator, you no longer have to buy lids. You don't have to buy bags. You can actually, speaking of which, it can also help you with branding and messaging because you can wrap the GoLidz plastic with branding or messaging, whether it's on top or on the sides or whatnot. It's more than just the cup having your brand on it. It's the whole thing. Now, I love products like this because it took an entrepreneur like Bonnie to come up with it. And she's been pounding the pavement like nobody's business. I am so proud of Bonnie. She's done a phenomenal job with this. It's innovations like this that are essential and appealing to millennials because of the convenience and, frankly, the newness of it. When changing your business in any way, or your serving platform if you're in takeout or delivery, make sure your audience that you're pushing to will adopt a new platform like this. Remember, not everyone is into change. But in the case of GoLidz, if you aren't changing to this product from your stale and old packaging, you're missing out big time. I remember back in the 90s and early 2000s, you had a few of those QSRs that tried to do their own innovative packaging, and it failed because the design was poor or the quality of it was poor. It just didn't work out. In the case of GoLidz, having personally used the product, I can tell you, because I really am a dick about this kind of stuff, it's very sturdy, it's very well designed, and frankly, for an operator, if it saves you money and allows you to get the message out more, you guys have to at least explore this. So check out GoLidz. Now, in a follow-up to last week's story on Subway, do you folks remember when things heated up between Subway and Quiznos? It seemed like every week the two chains were trying to outdo each other in advertising, in marketing tactics, and the like. We all know that Quiznos lost that war, guys. I barely ever see them anymore, and to my knowledge, the chain just isn't doing that well, even though they had a superior product, in my opinion. Now, the competition for Subway is about to heat up again, this time with Jersey Mike's Subs. A fast casual sandwich chain is growing really fast. They opened more than 170 stores in 2017 and are preparing to launch another 200 locations this year alone, on their track to have 2,000 doors open by 2020. Now, that's a huge jump, and it begs the question, how? So they're not just relying on franchising to expand. Now remember, and I talked a little bit about this last week, franchising is like, let's say you're a business operator and you're credit viable. You can go to Jersey Mike's and you can acquire a franchise license for, whatever their license fee is, a couple $100,000, whatever it might be. On top of that, because you're getting into the business and they've done all the hard work for you primarily, you then pay a royalty on percentage of sales, okay? That's how franchising works. In this case, they're not just relying on that, and it's the least expensive way for a brand to really expand in that way. They're being hyper aggressive about opening non-traditional outposts in places like airports and universities and sporting venues across the U.S. It is a brilliant strategy because it diversifies the distribution of your product and allows you to hit different sales channels in terms of your brand. So for that, very smart move. And frankly, I'm bringing this up because it's the perfect timing for Jersey Mike's to expand. Not only is Subway reeling from several issues, but the overall sentiment of that chain in the population is down because of problem after problem, like Jared Fogel's pedophilia, the fact that the executives at Subway knew what was going on with Fogel, the constant price shifting on their footlong sandwiches, and quite honestly, the really bad advertising they've been putting out ever since the Fogel incident happened. Subway's lost its way, and I now have a feeling that Jersey Mike's is going to drive an even bigger dent into their business. I love the fact that they're taking a bite out of Subway. Kudos to Jersey Mike's, guys. I love your food. I've tried your product several times. I've been looking for a national chain, sandwich chain, to really sink my teeth into. So I'm glad that you guys are expanding the way that you are. That means when I'm on the road for business, I can enjoy Jersey Mike's even more. Oh boy. Speaking of wars, the war is heating up between Samsung and Apple again. As we all know, Apple's iPhone X did not fare as well as they had projected, with the Cupertino powerhouse lowering supply orders for the iPhone X this quarter. So now that Samsung just announced their Galaxy S9 at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, I think it was yesterday, it was over the weekend, rumors are swirling that Apple's going to be releasing 3 new phones this year. One of them is codenamed D33, and it'll be the largest iPhone ever, and they're trying to appeal to phablet users. So that means a bridge between a mobile and a tablet, like an iPad, so phablet. Apparently what's going to happen is, if I had to guess, I'm going to make a prediction here. The iPhone X is a small platform, but it's the largest screen in the iPhone lineup. So it's a smaller platform because of its edge-to-edge capability, whereas the iPhone 8 Plus has a bezel around it. So it's a bigger platform, it's a bigger actual footprint, okay? If I had to guess, the new iPhone that we're talking about is going to be the same platform as the Plus models, but it's going to have an edge-to-edge screen. So again, that's a prediction and a guess. The second one will be the same size as the current iPhone X, but it'll have an enhanced handset. And the third is going to be a less expensive model with some of the current iPhone X's key features. Now, while the early reviews on the Galaxy S9 are lukewarm at best, stating that the phone is a solid entry, but it doesn't have enough innovation to warrant buying a new phone unless you need it, and iPhone X sales results not hitting the mark, questions have arisen as to whether or not we're past the phase of the must-have on day one movement. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's those folks that line up for days, sometimes weeks at a time, to buy the new iPhone, or those who get their pre-order in the first second they can on the new Galaxy phone from Samsung after it's announced. Now, interestingly enough, a report came out in the last few days, and I'm trying to remember who did the study, but basically it stated that users are not buying as many phones as we used to, new phones. So long gone are the days when you upgraded every year en masse to ensure you had the newest and hottest tech. As a matter of fact, that actually started in the last couple of years because you started seeing too many similarities and not enough jump in innovation between model releases. So think about the iPhone 7 to the iPhone 8. Yeah, better processor, better camera, but that was pretty much it. The next jump up was the 10. The problem is it came with a premium price tag attached to it. It's an OLED screen and so on and so forth. Now, with consumer credit debt being the height that it is right now, people just are not willing to part with $1,000 to buy a new phone when the phone they have works just fine. It's only early adopters and contract expirations that are really driving new phone sales on day one today. So this begs the question, are Apple and Samsung releasing too many new products into the market? And do we think that things will get any better in terms of sales for both companies? So only time will tell, and we'll keep you posted. But if I had to guess, I know that iPhone or that Apple's going to release their new phone at the Worldwide Developers Conference in June. At least they'll announce it. It'll be released in September. Here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, I think that what you're going to have is a shaking out and a balance between Apple and Samsung in terms of sales because there just isn't enough cash in the market. I hope I'm wrong because, frankly, the releases of the last couple of years, as I said earlier, they've just been too close in terms of what's in the package, what's on board. So the 10 was a big leap in innovation compared to what the 7 and the 8 were. But that doesn't necessarily mean the 11 is going to be all that different, and I hope it is. I also hope that the Galaxy S10, which I'm sure they'll release either end of this year or early next year like they did this time with the 9, I really do hope that they make a massive jump in innovation. Unfortunately, with the S9, from what I've read in the reviews and from what I've heard from friends who got their hands on test models, they said that there just isn't enough difference. Yeah, it's a much better camera, and some other little things on board, but it's just not that big a leap to justify spending the money unless your contract is coming to an end. So only time will tell, as I said, and we'll keep you guys posted. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll catch you tomorrow on Hump Day.